Okay, so Cleopatra, I think we all know the Hollywood version, but
Right.
what is it about this woman that still fascinates us thousands of years later? I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, that's fascinating. And
Yeah.
the sources you've got here really do paint
Yeah.
a much more complex picture than just the typical
Right.
kind of exotic seductress image.
Yeah.
This was a woman ruling in a man's world.
Oh, yeah,
E-
absolutely.
Every decision could impact entire empires. It's really something.
It really is. And, just trying to wrap our heads around ancient Egypt, like sibling marriage to maintain like royal bloodlines. I mean, come on.
It's really,
Can you imagine?
yeah, it's wild.
Family dinners.
It highlights the pressure she was under
Right.
right from the start.
Yeah.
She comes to power at 18 years old. Think about that.
Wow.
She had to fight for that throne. There were rivals and threats, even within her own family.
Oh, I bet.
So it's not like she was just handed this power. She had to earn it and then constantly defend it.
Oh, absolutely. And that makes that whole story of meeting Julius Caesar even more impressive, like smuggled into his chambers, rolled up in a carpet. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
talk about a bold move.
Talk about an entrance.
What do you think was going through her head?
The sources actually say that she really understood spectacle.
Ah,
It wasn't just about making a grand entrance. It was about capturing Caesar's attention
right.
in a way that no one else could.
Yeah.
She was using surprise to create a narrative that would make her totally unforgettable.
It's brilliant.
Pretty brilliant tactic.
Oh, it's so smart.
Yeah,
And it shows like a real understanding of psychology and power dynamics.
exactly.
Was she always this savvy, or did she develop these skills out of necessity?
It's hard to know, but
Yeah.
the sources do mention her being multilingual
Uh-huh.
and having this deep understanding of science and philosophy for the time.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Like, she was
Yeah.
clearly very intelligent.
Oh, yeah. She was intellectually curious,
Right.
constantly learning. Some sources even say she deliberately cultivated this image of being more than just a beautiful queen.
Oh, interesting.
She wanted to be seen as a ruler who was also a scholar and a thinker.
So she was shaping her own narrative.
Exactly.
Wow. And that
Yeah.
changes things because, again, we're talking about that exotic seductress trope. She was strategic
Oh, yeah?
about every aspect of her image.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't just for show. I mean, she was deeply involved in governance.
Oh, for sure.
Making decisions that really had impact. And this was all happening during a time when Roman expansion was a huge threat, right?
Huge threat. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the sources show that Cleopatra totally understood the danger that Rome posed.
Yeah.
She knew she had to play a very delicate game
Yeah.
to protect Egypt's interests.
Right.
And this is where her relationships with both Caesar and later Mark Antony become so crucial.
So she was walking a tightrope using these relationships to try to maintain Egypt's independence.
Yeah, it was a
Very-
very, very tricky situation.
Yeah, and can you imagine how stressful that must have been?
Oh, absolutely.
Do the sources give any insights into what these relationships were actually like?
Mm.
Were they purely political, or was there actual, genuine affection involved?
Well, that is the million-dollar question,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's one that historians are still debating.
I bet.
The sources do offer glimpses into both sides.
Mhm.
There are accounts of lavish gifts,
Oh.
grand gestures, and some pretty passionate letters.
See, that's what makes it so hard, is you're trying to separate fact from fiction.
Right.
Was she truly in love?
Right.
Or was love just another tool in her arsenal?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, could she ever truly let her guard down, or was she always calculating?
Well, it's tough to say for sure.
Yeah.
But what is clear from the sources is that these relationships had major political consequences.
Of course.
They weren't just personal affairs.
Right.
They were shaping the destiny of nations.
It's crazy. And, it's like she understood that better than anyone.
It seems that way.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, did she ever feel trapped by these high-stakes romances? Or did she see them as opportunities?
That's a good question, and it might be something we can look at more when we talk about the donations of Alexandria.
Ooh, yes, the donations of Alexandria.
Yeah.
That was a bold move, almost a direct challenge to Rome, right?
It was. Basically,
Yeah.
Cleopatra and Antony declared their children rulers of vast territories,
Whoa!
carving out their own sphere of influence within the Roman world.
So they were creating their own mini-empire.
Pretty much, yeah.
What was Rome's reaction to that?
Well, let's just say Rome was not happy.
I can imagine.
They saw it as a direct threat to
Right.
their authority. And,
Yeah.
the sources suggest that this was kind of a turning point.
Okay.
It really pushed Rome closer to war.
Oh, wow. So,
Yeah, Cleopatra and Antony's ambition while impressive,
Yeah.
might have been their downfall.
So they overplayed their hand?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe they underestimated Rome's determination to stay in control.
Yeah. You don't want to mess with Rome.
No, you don't.
So this all leads to the Battle of Actium, right?
Exactly.
What a clash of empires that must have been.
Oh, it was a decisive moment for sure.
Yeah.
It marked the end of Cleopatra and Antony's reign
Wow.
and solidified Rome's dominance.
It's hard to even imagine, the scale of this battle.
Right.
The clash of navies, the fate of empires just hanging in the balance.
Oh, yeah. It must have been awe-inspiring.
Right.
And terrifying all at the same time.
And for Cleopatra, this defeat leads to her tragic end.
It does.
I'm curious, what do the sources say about her final days? How did she face this ultimate loss of power?
Well, there are a lot of different accounts.
Right.
Some more dramatic than others.
Yeah.
But they all seem to agree that Cleopatra chose to end her own life.
Wow.
Rather than be paraded through the streets of Rome as a captive.
Can you imagine the strength that must have taken?
Incredible.
To make that decision.
To defy her captors and maintain her dignity even in defeat.
It's a powerful statement.
It really is.
It speaks volumes about her character.
Absolutely.
She refused to be a pawn in Rome's game.
She did.
She chose her own fate, and it's such a powerful ending to an incredible life.
It really is.
Thinking back on everything we've talked about,
Yeah.
Cleopatra was so much more than just a beautiful queen.
Oh, absolutely. The sources paint this picture of a woman who was intelligent, resourceful, and absolutely determined
Yeah.
to protect her kingdom and her legacy.
Right.
She navigated this incredibly complex political landscape,
Yeah.
forged alliances, made decisions that impacted the course of history.
Right.
She wasn't perfect,
Of course not.
but she was undeniably remarkable.
She was. And it makes you wonder, what is it about Cleopatra that continues to captivate us after all these centuries?
Right.
Why does her story resonate so deeply with people today?
Well, maybe it's her ability to defy expectations,
Okay.
to break free from the limitations that were placed on her.
Yeah.
She was a woman who dared to rule in a man's world, a woman who dared to love passionately and fight for what she believed in.
It's almost like she embodies this timeless human desire to strive for greatness,
Right.
to leave our mark on the world, and she definitely did that.
She did, without a doubt.
It's fascinating to think about how perceptions of Cleopatra have evolved over time.
Oh, yeah.
She's been romanticized, demonized, and everything in between.
Right.
Why do you think her image has been so fluid, so open to interpretation?
Well, it probably has something to do with the fact that history is often written by the victors. In Cleopatra's case, the narrative was largely shaped by Roman historians,
Right.
who had a vested interest in portraying her in a certain light.
So you're saying that her story was kind of manipulated to
Yeah.
fit a particular agenda?
It's definitely possible.
Wow.
But it's also important to remember that every generation reinterprets history
Yeah.
through their own lens,
Right.
The Cleopatra we see today is shaped not just by ancient sources, but also by centuries of art literature
Oh,
and popular culture.
so it's all layered.
Yeah, it's like she's become this larger-than-life figure,
Right.
almost mythical.
Thinking back to the sources you brought, what would you say is the one thing that really stood out to you about Cleopatra?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
For me, it was her resilience.
Okay.
No matter what challenges she faced, she always found a way to adapt
Yeah.
and persevere.
She never gave up.
Never, even in her final moments, she refused to be broken.
Wow.
She chose to go out on her own terms.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
It's a reminder that we all have the potential to overcome adversity
Absolutely.
and shape our own destinies.
It's a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit.
It is. It's interesting. We started this deep dive talking about how Cleopatra is often reduced to just a seductress.
Right.
But after looking at all these sources, it's clear that she was so much more than that.
Oh, yeah. She was a ruler,
Yeah.
a diplomat, a mother, a scholar,
Yeah.
and ultimately a survivor.
Her story is a reminder that history is full of these complex figures who defy easy categorization.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes it so intriguing, right?
It is.
The constant discovery, the reevaluation of narratives, the search for truth.
Exactly. And with someone like Cleopatra, there's always more to learn, more layers to uncover.
It makes you wonder what other historical figures have been misrepresented or misunderstood.
Right.
What other stories are waiting to be re-examined and reinterpreted?
Well, that's the beauty of history.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing conversation,
It is.
a constant process of discovery and reevaluation. And,
Yeah.
it's up to each of us to engage with it critically,
Yes.
to question assumptions, and to seek out diverse perspectives.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So for all of you listening out there,
Yeah,
what are some key takeaways from all of this? I mean, we learned that Cleopatra was a master strategist,
for sure.
a skilled diplomat, and a woman who defied all expectations.
Absolutely.
But more than that, her story reminds us that even in the face of impossible odds, we have the power to choose our own path.
We do.
Yeah.
And to never underestimate the impact of our choices,
Right.
both big and small.
Yes.
They ripple out, shaping not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us.
It's true.
Cleopatra's story is a testament to that.
It's incredible to think that even after all these centuries, her legacy continues to inspire
Yeah,
and intrigue.
it really is. And it serves as a reminder that history is not just a collection of names and dates.
Right.
It's a living tapestry woven from the choices, actions, and legacies of countless individuals.
Beautifully said. Well, that was a fascinating deep dive into the life and times of Cleopatra.
It was.
Thanks for joining us on this journey.
It was my pleasure.
And for all of you listening out there, we'll catch you in the next episode.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop discovering the hidden depths of history.
Makes you wonder what the world would look like today
Yeah.
if some of those key moments in her life had gone differently.
Totally. If Cleopatra had triumphed at Actium,
Right.
could Egypt have maintained its independence?
Yeah.
Would the Roman Empire have been as vast and influential? It's fascinating to think about, those alternate timelines.
It's crazy how even seemingly small events
Well.
can have a ripple effect across history.
Absolutely.
It's wild. And, it's funny. We talk about Cleopatra as this almost mythical figure,
Right?
but she was a real person
Yeah,
dealing with real challenges,
absolutely.
making tough choices just like we all do.
She was. And the sources really do show that,
Yeah.
her brilliance, her ambition, her flaws.
Right.
She wasn't just a queen or a symbol.
Right.
She was a human being
Yeah.
trying to navigate an incredibly complex world.
Yeah, and it reminds us that even the most powerful figures in history
Right.
had their own struggles and vulnerabilities.
It did, for sure.
If you could just pick one thing
Oh,
you hope people remember about Cleopatra, after this deep dive, what would it be?
I think it would be her refusal to be defined by the limitations placed upon her.
Especially as a woman in that era.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cleopatra used everything at her disposal, her intelligence, her charm, her political savvy,
Yeah.
to achieve her goals.
It's inspiring.
It's a powerful reminder that we all have the agency to shape our own destinies,
Right.
even when the odds seem stacked against us.
Cleopatra, queen strategist, mother icon.
That's right.
It's been a pleasure unraveling her story with you.
Yeah, the pleasure was all mine.
And for those of you listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll catch you in the next episode.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop discovering the hidden depths of history.